I get to welcome you today to not only October 2023, but I also get to kind of welcome you to autumn season. And it actually seems like it's not a million degrees outside. It is getting a little bit cooler. It's not as cool as most people want. And I've heard several people forecast that we are supposed to have an early and very, very cold winter, which doesn't make me happy either. I actually really like the hot temperatures. I know it sounds really strange, but not like a bazillion degrees. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like it, like a good 80 to 90 degrees is kind of like the perfect weather for me. I like it a little bit on the warm side, but I get to welcome you to all of this. We're going to be doing angel cards as well as the astrology for 2023 October. And I guarantee you October is going to make some changes. Like it is just inevitable. Just give into this because I guarantee you October has some really changing, adjusting energy that we really have to kind of like embrace on. And of course, we have our huge American solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. And I've got a couple of videos out on that. Plus, there's a whole bunch about it all in my newsletter. So I guarantee you there's like some changes coming. And it just depends on how much you want to really embrace this change, because I guarantee you that it's getting there. This is going to be making some big changes. I will tell you that kind of one of the changes that I've seen coming along for a while is that there's just going to be making some changes in our finances. I know October and finances, yeah. I guarantee you there's going to be some big changes coming in October in our finances. And I know everybody's like prices are up and it's one of those, but a lot of times like we're not mentally changing our philosophy on how we're using our money or changing our money. So this is kind of like an interesting way to kind of like change and modify this a little bit at a time. So let's get started. So October 1st, 2023 has the moon in the sign of Taurus, and that is conjunct Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. And I guarantee you this is going to be making some really interesting changes for us, and I guarantee it's going to be really making some great modifications. So our conjunctions are all about like new beginnings or new starts. And we have our moon, which is all about our emotions and how we deal with things on the inside. And then we have Taurus, which is very much like asking us like, what do we value? What about our emotions are we going to be valuing? Next, like I said, the beginning of all of this is kind of like the mixture of both of these energies. On the other side, we have Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. So Jupiter is all about expansion, growth, and luck. And it's also in the sign of Taurus. So it's kind of like, what do you value in expansion and growth and luck? What are you valuing on each side? And it's kind of really going to be bringing in an expansive change to kind of like how we focus. What do we focus on? What are the new opportunities or the new beginnings that we have coming in at us, and having some new experiences. And this is really kind of like wanting us to be bold and adventurous. Now, I guarantee you part of this doesn't mean like you need to go out and go on a, go climb Mount Everest or whatever else. But I will tell you, this is kind of like get out of your comfort zone. This is really like pushing you out the door to get out of your comfort zone and really decide what you want. What is it in your life that you really want to have in your life? What is that energy? So for October 1st, this one right here is the one that's really calling our name. Balance. Now, I guarantee you balance is number one theme that we're going to have, because October is always, the beginning of October is always in Libra, which is all about the balance. And so it's finding that balance of like new opportunities, new growth, new experiences, and kind of like bringing that back in. Like, what do you want to do? Because a lot of times when we expand in one area, we're going to retract in another. So it's kind of like, where is that balance coming in at us? Let's go to October 2nd. We have Mercury in the sign of Virgo because it just switched over and in opposition to Neptune in the sign of Pisces. Now, Mercury is all about communication and our thinking and how it was our mindset. And Virgo's all about kind of like love and beauty and kind of like thinking about like the inset of like how does we connect this love and this beauty together, or this love and this kind of like ideas of beauty, or what do we think of beauty. And that's kind of in opposition, and that's kind of like things can work together or kind of pushing each other apart. So it's kind of like, are we going to work together? Are we going to push each other apart? Neptune is our planet, our dreamy planet of kind of like our spirit. Where do we want to go? How do we want to get out of our comfort zone? How do we want to do this? And it's in the sign of Pisces, which is all about movement and flow. And this is going to be focusing us on literally completely on lacking. Like, what do we need for ourselves? Like, what is it that we need to kind of give to ourselves? So many times we expect someone else to give to us. We want other people to almost like serve us, like going to a restaurant. Like, I want you to give me a hug when I want a hug, or I want to talk to you when I want to talk to you. But a lot of times we're almost expecting that person to kind of read our mind and kind of like bring in that energy. Like, I want you to give me what I want when I want it. And a lot of times like that can bring in a lot of frustration, a lot of like anxiety, because we're waiting on someone else to give us something that we deserve. And this really can also bring us into kind of like that dream kind of energy, because Neptune is in there, and Neptune is all about the dreams. What are we dreaming, and what do we want? Kind of like, what are our fantasy dreams? You know, the knight in shining armor comes in on a white horse, or we get to run off with the bad guy in the cowboy hat, the black cowboy. It's like, yeah, let's be with bad boy. Let's be with the good guy. Let's be with this person, that person. Kind of like, who's going to fulfill our fantasies? And it's really up to us to not only understand our fantasies of what we want in our lives, like what is it that we really want, and where do we want to go with this? This is going to be a really interesting one. So for October 2nd, we have an angel card. Let me go this way. This is the one that keeps pulling my energy back. New loves. And I guarantee you there is a lot of new love energy in this energy. Like I said, Neptune's always asking us, like, what is our fantasy? What is your fantasy about new love? And that doesn't mean you have to change who you've been with and go to someone else, but it's one of those, are you talking to your person? Are you talking to your person about, like, what do you want in your life? How do you want this to come about? How do you want this to come in? What are your fantasies? What do you want or deserve or desire or require or whatever else it is? Like, are you talking about it? Because so many people expect them, like I said, reading their minds, but then when it doesn't happen, they're like, well, they didn't do what I wanted. Well, but you voice it out. You've got to be really clear about what your dreams, what do you want in your life? This is going to be a very interesting one. Let's go to October 3rd. We have Mercury in Virgo trining Jupiter in Capricorn. And trines are all about kind of like finding this like good flow of energy, kind of like bringing in luck and balance and new opportunities. Mercury is our planet of communication and thinking. In Virgo, it's all about like being coordinated, our calendars, our schedules, kind of like, are we talking about what we require on our schedule and balancing things out? Now, I will tell you, it's in trining and trying to find that peace and harmony with Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is all about our transformation and changing and what do we want to change and how do we want to do this. And it's in the sign of Capricorn, which can be a little bit obstinate about like opening up to that energy or making those changes. And this is really a deep connection that really kind of show us, what do we really want? What do we really want to work for? Anything that we require inquires our passion, our energy in that area. And so many times, like, people expect someone else to kind of voice things out for us, that communication. but it's up to us to voice it out. What do we require? You can get wrapped up in whatever works for you, but we also need to understand more of that, like what is working for us and what is not working for us, and communication about both. What's working and what is not working is really important to kind of keep tracking of this energy. Let's go for our angel card for October 3rd, and this is the one that's pulling my energy. This is all about friendships, and relationships are similar to friendships. They're just like more in detailed, but I guarantee you, do you have friends that you're not really communicating with, or relationships that you're not really communicating with? Because part of it is you should always be in a friendship. You should always be able to talk about things, bring up things, change things, modify things. Like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to voice this out? How are we going to get this out? It's going to be a really great, interesting one for us, and kind of gives us a great insight into what's coming up next. On October 4th, we have Mercury entering the sign of Libra. Mercury is our planet of communication and thinking, and it's entering the sign of balance and kind of bringing things back into balance and being able to see like both sides of every situation, because every side doesn't just have one side, it has multiple sides. And it's one of those, it's all about like negotiating and compromising, and where are we going to change this, and what are we going to do with this? And this can be a little bit daunting, because it's one of those like weighing the pros and cons, like, am I willing to give up this, or am I not willing to give up this? What am I compromising, and what am I getting in return for this? And being in balance is going to be really important. I guarantee there are a lot of relationships out of balance that require coming back into balance. And I know no relationship is ever going to be 100% like balanced each time. They're always going to be in this little bit of a fluctuation, but it shouldn't be like this and balancing this way or balancing this way. It should always be in this balance back and forth, this little bit off. I did something nice for you, now you're going to do something nice for me, or I'm going to do this and you're going to go here. All of that kind of stuff, finding that perfect balance for the two of you is really important. So let's go to our angel card for October 4th, and literally this one right here is calling my name. Divine timing. This is coming at a great time, and this is all about like finding our balance, not only with our relationships, but probably one of the most important relationships we have is with money. I know, interesting. Our relationship with money is going to be bringing us some really interesting insights, some really interesting kind of like, where are we going with this? What are we talking about? And how are we going to find balance in this relationship? I guarantee it's going to be really interesting. And it's kind of this time, like, now is the time to get this done. Now is the time to make those changes. Now is the time to find that balance in all of this. Let's go to October 5th. We have our moon entering the sign of Cancer. And this one's kind of a really important one, just because we're kind of like, Cancer is normally a sign that we see kind of like in July, but this one's coming in, and this is really asking us our core selves. Like, our moon is our emotions, and Cancer is all about like finding that great rhythm, that balance of energy, that flow. And this is talking about your core strengths and your internal foundations of like, what is important to you and what do you want to take on, and really addressing the emotions, that moon side of it, in what do we say and how do we support each other. And a lot of times relationships that last a long period of time are always finding that balance. They may not be in balance 100% of the time, but they're going to keep finding that balance back and forth. If you're in a relationship, friends, relatives, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever it is, and you're not finding that balance, this is a time to get back into balance when we hit that time frame for us. And this is going to be really important. Let's move to October 6th. We do not have any planets in motion on October 6th, so let's do October 6th. This is the one that's calling my name. This is all about power. If you have not been in a good relationship with a good balance, this is your time to take back your power, finding a new balance for yourself, and really pushing this amazing energy forward and finding your power. Where are your words? Where were you not giving yourself the energy for this? Were you not kind of working in this frame of energy with you? Because a lot of times, like someone else, like I said, expects someone else to balance with us, and of course they're never going to balance with us. They're kind of winning. They're kind of like, we're giving in to everything that they want, and why would they change? Oh, it's not a good one. Okay, let's go to October 7th. We don't have any planets. I feel like this one is one. So we don't have any planets in motion, but we have an angel card. And this is all about blessings. When we try to find our great energy with this, because it's really important to kind of find that balance, that blessings with other people. This is going to be a great one. Finding those blessings and really voicing things out, but finding those blessings. One of the things that I found that is probably a blessing more than anything else is finding the life lesson. What is the life lesson? When things were out of balance, what should you have said, or how should you have balanced things out? So many times we don't, and then we're kind of mad at ourselves, and we should have learned, like, I should have said something then. I should have said something when we were out of balance a little bit and not waited until we're out of balance a whole bunch. So make sure that you're finding that balance with you and kind of finding that balance in what's going on in and around your energy. I know. So let's move to October 8th. We have a couple of things going on. First, we have Venus, our planet of love, going into the sign of Virgos, which are all about scheduling and balancing and kind of drawing attention to what we need to do or take care of. Paying close attention to people around us that we really want to care for, and making sure we're staying in balance with that. For the next couple of weeks, Venus is in the sign of Virgo, and you can finally start to take things a little more serious. We've been in kind of like that Leo energy, which is all about like beauty and balance and kind of like fun loving. And now we're kind of really getting into the serious part of it. This is really a great one to kind of get things done. This is really one that can be very practical, of kind of clearing up our schedules, kind of voicing things out, getting things in motion. And a lot of times, this is a time frame where people start contacting me and going like, I've been wanting to schedule for 6 months. Okay, but they haven't stepped out and done it. So it's like, I'm not going to call you. You got to call me, and you got to schedule these things. That's kind of the fun part. So many times, like, people kind of really hold on to things, and all of a sudden it's like they're stepping out and making appointments with me. They're making appointments with their doctor, their dentist, all that kind of stuff, because it's like, now it's time to get things on the books. Like I said, this is a great time to get things scheduled and moving forward. Also on October 8th, we have Mars in the sign of Libra squaring Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. And squares are all about kind of like the tension and the struggle. And this kind of can bring up some things that you've been wanting to voice out, but you haven't. Mars is our planet of aggression and moving forward in the sign of Libra, which is kind of like trying to find a good balance and kind of like balancing its energy. Pluto is our planet of transformation and changes, and it's in the sign of Capricorn, which is all about like motion forward and moving things forward and kind of like that finance energy. This may bring up a lot of things that people have been pushing off to the side, where this is kind of like the number one, like bringing in our changes in our finances. This is going to be like, oh, this is where I needed to find this balance. And kind of things that we've wanted to avoid or have been avoiding, and now they're going to be like right in our face. And this is one of those that may be a little frustrating to kind of work through, but you may just have to take accountability for what you've done. I've overspent, I've overdone this, or whatever it is, and now I need to bring that back in, and I need to make accounting for what's going on. This is a great one to kind of bring us back into that energy of like finding that balance. So on October 8th, let's do this card right here. October 8th, support. When someone is being vulnerable, what you have to do is being supportive. And it's kind of like when they're being vulnerable about the finances or whatever it is, make sure that you're supporting their energy. Doesn't mean that you need to go, yes, it's all right that you overspend or whatever else. We need to support each other in all of this. We need to kind of like, so how can we make changes? What can we do to make changes? How can we make things better for you in all of this energy? Because if not, you're going to keep getting out of balance. Let's move to October 9th. We have our moon in Leo squaring Uranus in the sign of Taurus. We have our moon, which is our emotions, in the sign of Leo, which is all about the beauty of our emotions and kind of getting that voice out there and kind of like wanting to give that energy. And this is squaring, and squares are all about tension and kind of bringing struggles. And it's usually kind of a great way to kind of start seeing eye to eye on things. It's interesting. Uranus is our planet of change and modifications, and it's in the sign of Taurus, all about change, all about like, what do we value? What changes do we value? There is a lot of changes that people have been wanting to make, trying to make, kind of getting those energy out there. But I guarantee this is most like the right moment to kind of start making plans, to gather the information, to sit down, and instead of being impulsive, like, oh, you're just telling me that this is wrong, really listen and hear what they have to say. Because I guarantee there's a lot of things that we have been putting off that we really need to start thinking about. This one is popping out big time. Children, this is kind of the card I love because it's got such great energy. Children are all about like just telling the truth and not really like blaming anybody else or doing anything wrong. It's kind of like, this is the truth of what's going on. This is the truth of how we've been doing things. And so it's kind of like, be like that child of like, this is the truth. I've got problems with this, or I require assistance with this, because that's going to help us kind of bring all of this back in and together. Let's go to October 10th. Now, one of the first things, we have our 1010 energy portal opening up. And so this is going to be bringing in some new beginnings, some new starts, and some great energy for us. So I've got a whole video on that, and I'll link that beneath. But this is a great one to kind of like bringing that energy in. The big one we have is, we have Pluto moving direct in the sign of Capricorn. Pluto is retrograde, so it's literally just moving out of the end of its retrograde cycle, moving direct motion. It's not out of retrograde completely. People are still going to be feeling this, I think, honestly, like January of 2024. So this is a really interesting one. So you're going to start seeing more people transforming, a lot of people picking back up of like things that they were working on or changing and modifying things. And this is going to be really great at bringing us like, where do we want to move with this energy? With Pluto nearing its end of time at Capricorn, you may want to focus on finishing your goals or direction or responsibilities. And this is going to be bringing in some amazing changes, some amazing upgrades and structure changes, kind of like those foundations, like let's make some great changes to all of this. It's going to be an interesting one for us. Also, we have Venus in the sign of Virgo in opposition to Saturn in the sign of Pisces. And I guarantee you, Venus is like our planet of love, and Virgo is all about like direction and calendars and goals and that sort of thing. And it's in opposition. Oppositions are all about like, we can work together or not. So are these signs going to work together, or are they going to fight it out? Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Saturn is all about discipline and our structure, our foundations. And it's in the sign of Pisces, all about movement in all of this. And this can go either way. You're going to go one way or the other, one way or the other. And this is all about spending like too much time and energy on your goals and ignoring your relationships, or too much time on your relationships and ignoring your goals. Like, where have you been in the past? And this is trying to find that balance, that middle ground in Libra kind of energy of like, yeah, let's bring this out. And I guarantee it's not about laziness or anything else. It's all about finding that balance and support and love and kind of moving forward in all of this. It's like, yeah, let's do that. So October 10th, this is the one that's really setting our intentions. This is a great one for us today. And this is all about setting our intentions and what do we want to fix? What do we want to change? And those goals and those kind of like foundation energy. What do we want to change? What do we want to modify? Because if we have it, that's going to only bring up harsher energy. It's only going to bring up more crazy energy and kind of things that we're not ready to work through, or kind of bringing up things that we're not ready to give a voice to. Let's move into October 11th. We have our moon in the sign of Virgo, trining Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. Moon is our emotions. Virgo is all about our schedules and our calendars. And this is trining. So trines are trying to like bringing in balance and harmony with Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. Jupiter is all about luck, expansion, and growth. Taurus is all about like, what are we valuing? What luck values are we bringing in? What expansion or growth are we really bringing into all of this? This is going to be taking it easy a little bit, but it's going to be a lot of inner work for us, kind of bringing in some great times that we may want to kind of break up and kind of like take into smaller accountings. Like, I want to work on this first, and then this, and then this. This is going to give us a great balance in all of this. And I guarantee you it's going to be making us feel a little bit easier about making some amazing changes for ourselves. This is going to be a really good one. This one is, I got two. I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so this one is all about abundance, and this is going to be giving us some time of like bringing in a break for what we've been doing and a possibility of more abundance. But we've got to give that abundance like room to grow, the energy to grow, that emotion to grow. So are you giving your money the emotion to grow? Interesting. That might be a whole video all on its own. Interesting. Let's move to October 12th. We have Mars moving into the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is all about passion and intensity. And this is all about kind of bringing in unrelated energies together. So Mars and Scorpio may mean your energy and your drive are going to be really intense about your passion. And like I said, if you've been letting your passion fly in some areas and not really holding it down, this is going to be the time to like really push that energy to kind of find that balance. Have we been really career oriented and not family oriented, and kind of bringing a balance to all of this? This can be an excellent time to really dedicate ourselves back to what we've been kind of like ignoring for a little bit, and kind of bringing that amazing energy back in for us. So on October 12th, let's do this one, our soulmate. This is really a great one to bring in, because a lot, like I said, we've been really kind of ignoring either our careers or our families, and this is kind of a great one to kind of bring in our relationships back into balance, our career back into balance, and kind of recheck everything while we still have that Libra energy around us. This is going to be like, yes, here we go. Next, on October 13th, we have Mars in the sign of Scorpio, trining Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. Trines are all about luck and balance and opportunities. Mars is our planet of aggression and sex. Yes. And it's in the sign of Scorpio, which is all about like bringing in our passion, our intensity, kind of like, what are we going to bring in this? Where does our passion in all of this? Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Saturn is all about our discipline, our structure, our foundations. In the sign of Pisces is going to be wanting to bring us into a flow of energy. Discipline will be really strong on our minds today, and really bringing in a strong work ethic of kind of finding our balance much more than usual. We're going to be like, wake up and we're ready to go. You can focus on long-term goals and kind of working towards what's coming up next for you. Kind of like, we have long-term goals out here, but what's our first step, our second step, kind of bringing that in. It's going to be an interesting one for us. So October 13th, we have this one, September 13th. It's actually going to be bringing a playfulness in what we want to kind of bring in this energy. This is going to be a great one for us, kind of bringing in that energy. But even though we may feel like really strong and disciplined and stuff, this is going to be bringing our playful side out, because a lot of times when we really get focused and passionate, it is almost like playing in that energy. Now, October 14th, we have our solar eclipse in the sign of Libra, and this is going to be really intense. Now, if you're in the United States, this is going to bring up so much energy for us. This is our first eclipse in the sign of Libra in many, many years. Our Libra solar eclipse can be excellent for partnerships and recommitments and compromise, and kind of, like I said, finding that balance. It can also bring in this discipline of kind of like finding that great balance that we've kind of let slide for a while. But this, I guarantee, is going to be striving everybody to kind of find that same page energy, kind of like, here we go in this energy. Now, I guarantee you, I have tons of videos out on this, but I will tell you a little bit something about this one before I pull the card, is because it's going to be over the United States and it's really going to be close to Houston. I think Houston is only getting 90% of it, so a lot of people are moving further south to kind of get a great view of this. I guarantee you that this is a really great one. If you get the chance and the opportunity to bring this energy in and to go see it, make sure you have your protective eyewear on and go have some great fun, because it is going to be really fun. I know a lot of people that are going down to Corpus because you're going to have a great view off of Corpus. There we go. So for October 14th, we have Archangel Michael is going to be bringing in some amazing, intense energy with this, and really bringing in some energy to protect us. Like I said, if you're in the United States, or especially in Texas, or where this eclipse is going to be right over the top of us, this is something where you're going to really require some extra protection. So calling in Archangel Michael at this time frame is going to be excellent for you to do. It's going to be great. The last one is October 15th, and we don't have any planets in motion. So this is going to be really a kind of an interesting one, because we're just going to have the eclipse. We are going to have some amazing energy, but I guarantee you it's probably going to be affecting our dreams in some very interesting ways for the next couple of weeks. But I guarantee you this solar eclipse in the sign of Libra is going to be affecting us for 6 months. Eclipse energy stays around. It's really intense, probably the first 30 to 60 days, and it does taper off a little bit, but it stays high until the end of the 6 months. But it is going to be changing our dreams, our aspects, and what we want to change about our world and our intentions. I guarantee this one's going to be modifying so many things around us. We are really going to have some changes in our dreams, some flow in that energy, and I guarantee you, you're going to want to check into this energy. I thank you so much for joining me today, and I know that we'll be talking again soon.